started. Welcome to our gentle yoga session. This is a mat class, so it's appropriate for those who feel comfortable getting down onto the floor and back up, and we will move through those transitions together mindfully. Today, we're going to challenge our balance with a lot of different yoga asanas or physical postures, as well as some breathing techniques. So some of you may have heard in yoga philosophy this statement: the posture of yoga is steady and easy. We're balancing these two concepts of effort and ease. And this, of course, somehow I can always tie it to my father. This reminds me of something that my dad used to tell us and how that's transformed through the ages. When we were growing up, my dad would greet us rather cheerfully in the morning, every morning, with the statement, "Today is another day in which to excel." Imagine as a morose teenager hearing those words. Well, didn't always love hearing that, but now that I'm in my 50s and I've done a lot of striving in my life and been inspired by that motto of my dad's, I realize it's not always sustainable to push. So I'm throwing that motto back to him, and this is especially important for our group. A lot of us care for fatigue. I'm throwing that back to my dad. Today is another day in which to enjoy. So we're going to try to balance those concepts: effort, ease, excel, enjoy in today's class. So let's get started by finding a comfortable way down onto the ground if you're not already there. And I'm just going to get there mindfully. Make sure you have water, a blanket, a pillow. We're going to have a lot of time for rest at the end. We want to balance that ease into our class. So grab all the things you need and take your time transitioning down to the floor. And we're going to actually start our class today in a reclining posture, right? So do whatever you need to do, grab whatever you need to grab, and then eventually you can go ahead and just meet me in a reclining posture. Maybe you want to grab a little support for underneath the head, a little blanket. That could feel nice. And I'm going to start the class today lying on my back with my knees bent. And I'm just going to rest my hands on my belly and begin entering into this yoga space. Just begin with a little bit of easy breathing. So I'll take a breath in. As I exhale, I'm just going to relax my shoulders. Breathing in, feeling that belly rise with the breath. Breathing out. Just letting my body settle for a moment. And please know that if the only thing you did in our class was show up and breathe, that would be fine. So you're welcome here in whatever state of being you're in. Taking a couple more breaths and just setting your intentions for today's class. Maybe it's excel, maybe it's enjoy, maybe it's a little bit of both. So I'm going to start off with a very gentle pelvic tilt. I'm going to press my belly button down towards the earth and erase the lumbar curve. And then the opposite, accentuate the lumbar curve, tip the pelvis forward. So I'm just tipping the pelvis, tilting the pelvis forward and back with my breath. Easy breaths in and out. Gently waking up the spine. We're breathing in and out as we tilt the pelvis, erasing and accentuating the lumbar curve. So just taking a few more of these, a nice way to ease into our session. And then I'll come back to neutral, walk my feet to the very edges of my mat. Still have my knees bent. And I'll bring my arms out to the sides with the palms facing up. And I'm just going to wash my knees to the right side. Come to center, breathing in. Wash my knees to the left side. Breathing to center, exhaling to the right. Inhaling to center, exhaling to the left. And please know you do not have to go to 100% of your range. You could just gently, gradually explore what we call windshield wipers. And it's a wonderful way to wake up the hip flexors, the low back. Continuing to breathe, maybe one or two more. And then I'll go ahead, come back to center and just hug my knees into my chest and rock a little bit from side to side. So I'm massaging my low back. And if there's anything in today's session that doesn't feel right to you, you give yourself permission to skip it or modify it. So now I'm going to bring my legs up so my knees are bent and my shins are parallel with the earth. I'm going to take that slight belly towards the earth integration of my core, and I'll bring my arms to reach up towards the ceiling, palms face each other, plug those shoulders back into the earth, and I'm going to extend opposite arm and opposite leg. So one leg reaches out, one arm reaches overhead, and then I'm coming back to center, breathing in. Exhale, opposite arm and leg extend. Inhale, center with that slight tuck of the belly towards the spine. This is a great core exercise. And we do this, this is sort of like a reclining bird dog or a reclining balancing tiger. So we want to get that core fired up a little bit for our balance work that we're going to do today. All right, I might do one more on each side. Doing this slowly makes it a little bit harder, doesn't it? And then I'll come back, hug my knees into my chest, rock from side to side, and then eventually when I'm ready, planting my feet down, and I'm going to roll onto my right side. And I'm going to cradle my head in my hand or use a block or pillow underneath my head. So I'm on my right side. I'm going to bend the bottom leg and extend the top leg long. We're going to be doing some side-lying leg lifts. And I've got my left hand in front of me to keep me balanced, right? So I'm just lying on my side and I'm going to be lifting this top leg up and slowly bringing it back down. So big breath in, nice long line, the heel in line with the head. I might take a total of 5 of these leg lifts. Breathe, side out the mouth if you need to. Squeeze that side glute. And then I'll go ahead and bend this top leg and extend the bottom leg. And very carefully reach back with that left hand, grab on to either the pant leg or the right ankle or right foot. So I'm giving myself a quad stretch here. Feel that hip flexor stretching? Yep, I'm just bending that top leg, reaching back, giving myself a little stretch to the front of that left leg. Doing whatever feels best for me if this doesn't feel best for me. And then I'll slow release, roll back onto the back. Take a moment, take a breath. And then if you want, you can do another set of those bird dogs, those reclining bird dogs, or you can just do some windshield wipers, right? So it's up to you. Extending opposite arm, opposite leg, with the belly pushing down towards the earth. Don't forget to breathe. So I've got that effort maintained through my core, and I'm trying to find a little ease through my breath. If you find your breath is ragged, that might mean you're pushing too hard. I'm taking one more on each side. Hugging those knees into the chest. Rocking a little bit, and then I'll roll onto my left side. That might mean you're not looking at your monitor anymore, and that would be fine. So you're rolling onto your left side, cradling the head in the hand. Bottom leg is bent, top leg long. My heel and my head are in line, and I'm just taking 5 leg lifts, breathing in, lifting up, breathing out, coming down. You don't have to go as far as you possibly can go. Maybe I'll point my toe down a little bit. Really get that good side glute squeeze. You've got it, Judith. Wonderful. For 2 more, keep that breath flowing. And then when you're ready, you can go in for the quad stretch. So I'm carefully lengthening my bottom leg and bending my top leg, reaching back, grabbing on to whatever's available. And you could get a little bit wobbly here. Side lying balance is indeed just that. It's a balance pose. You got it, Ken. Beautiful. And now I'm just releasing and rolling onto my belly and pushing myself up. I'm not in any hurry to get onto my hands and knees. I'm not going to be here long, but I do want to take a moment to create a good foundation through my hands, palms underneath the shoulders. So I'm on my hands and my knees in a tabletop posture. Come up onto the hands and knees. And if you have tender knees, you can pad up by bringing a blanket underneath the knees. We're not going to be here long. So imagine that you're creating a table with your body, and I'm going to come set my fine china tea set on your back. And I want to balance that tea on your back. And that can be there for just a moment, you know, pulling that belly towards the spine, feeling the strength in the wrists and the shoulders. And then we can just poof, allow that tea set to disappear. I'm going to take some circles with my whole body. So my whole body moving in a circular motion. I feel this in my wrists, my elbows and shoulders, my hips, right? So a nice way to lubricate the hip joints. My knees, even my ankles could move in the opposite direction. And then very slowly, just going to come back to center, tuck my toes under, walk myself up onto a piece of furniture, balancing on my knees, taking a breath, and slowly transitioning to a standing pose. Right? I'm not in any hurry to get there. I'm going to get there however feels best for me. That might include a down dog. Taking that little sip of water. Coming to stand, and I've got a support nearby if I need it. Okay, I'm going to come into my steady mountain pose with my arms resting at my sides. Opening the chest, palms can face slightly forward. My legs are engaged, and I'm going to close my eyes here. If I feel safe doing so, I'll close my eyes, or just soften my gaze down towards the earth. Let's take a couple of breaths here in mountain pose. Sending those roots down deep into the earth, drawing up nourishment and support from that root system which we've developed over time in our community. You're never alone. And we're going to keep a little mental note of this root system, as it's something we can always access. And I'm just going to move my head from side to side. So I'm getting a really nice little stretch, tilting the right ear towards the right shoulder or the chin, moving whatever feels good here. Just a little bit of lubrication of the neck. Good. And then coming back to center, I'm going to hold on to my chair for this first little tiptoe float. I'm going to come up onto my tiptoes and then soften my way down slowly, gripping the earth with my toes and just doing what I can do today. Lifting up onto tiptoes and releasing back down. Maybe you're working towards letting go of your support and using the arms like wings. Do what feels best for you. Maybe you want to find a place to gaze that is farther away. And as you do these tiptoe floats, be aware of your entire field of vision. The peripheral vision is a very important aspect of balance. So I'm aware of what's beneath me without even looking down. I'm aware of that earth underneath me, what's out to the sides. Breathing in, I float my way up. Breathing out, I float my way down. So good for strengthening the lower limbs, stimulating blood flow in the lower limbs, and can be useful for those caring for peripheral neuropathy in the lower limbs. All right, one more float, or I will just fly away. And then I'll come into a slightly bent knee. If you have knee issues, maybe you don't go as far. So I'm coming into my chair pose. I'm going to sink down as if I were sitting down into a chair, bring my hips back, pull my belly towards my core, and maybe today we bring the arms straight out and the palms face each other. So lots of effort happening in my lower body. I could isometrically push the feet apart. So I'm really turning on those glute muscles. If I wanted to take it a little bit easier, I could bring the hands to heart center instead of reaching them out. Do what feels best for you. Excel and enjoy at the same time. Big breath in. And then exhale, come out of it, walk it out. It's a great pose for strengthening, using those muscles that we use to get up out of a chair or walk up the steps. All right, I'm going to come into my first classic yoga pose, Warrior One. Right foot forward, left foot back at an angle. My hips are kind of sort of pointing forward. And I'm going to bend into my front, my right knee. If I feel wobbly here, create a wider foundation by walking the right foot to the right. Right, so in Warrior One, my arms could be lifted straight up. If I'm looking to create a bit more ease in my body, maybe my hands come to heart center. So it is up to you what feels best for you. I'm squeezing that left glute muscle, finding my breath, finding the ease of my breath moving in and out. That's very good. Relaxing the shoulders. One more breath. And then let's come out of it by shortening the stance. Shortening the stance. I still have my right foot forward and my left foot back. I could take my hands to my hips, Or I could grab opposite forearm behind the back. Tuck that chin as we lean forward, folding forward to whatever degree feels safe for you. Again, a little chin tuck, so I'm not jutting my chin forward, which is my habit here in this pyramid pose. Remember when we were doing those pelvic tilts, so I'm kind of imagining my back is against the floor, and I'm pushing my lower back into the floor with this pose, keeping my lower back safe. And slow, come on up. Now I'm going to position myself so that I'm holding onto my chair. And this could be a wall instead of a chair. I'm going to be bringing the weight into my right foot and kicking up my left leg behind me. And I might just do a few kicks, see how it feels. And I might hold that left leg up with my torso maybe parallel to the earth, maybe not. Pull that belly up towards the spine, tuck the chin, and I might be working towards bringing one arm out to the side like a wing, flying in my warrior 3. Maybe for just a millisecond, I see what it would feel like to bring both hands off, both hands to heart center. And then I'm relaxing, coming out of it. Really hard pose. Walk it out. Take a sip of water. And then we'll do all of that on the other side. Warrior 1 with the left foot forward and the right foot back. Nice wide base. Sink into your left knee. Squeeze that right glute muscle. The hands could be lifted, palms facing each other, or the hands could be at heart center. So you decide what feels best for you. Finding my breath, moving in and out. Here I am, exactly as I am in this moment. Perfectly imperfect. We'll make our way out of Warrior 1 gently. Stepping the back foot forward. You've got it, Roxanne. I'm going to create both legs straight and strong. I could grab opposite elbow, opposite forearm, or I could rest my hands on my hips. If you did grab the opposite arms behind the back, try to put the other one on top from what you did before. And I'm just going to lean forward, fold forward, tucking that chin. Both legs are engaged. And maybe the ease I find here is by resting my awareness someplace in my body that isn't working, like maybe my jaw. Finding that breath. All right, make your way up nice and slow. Shake out the hands and find that support of your chair for Warrior 3. I'm going to just gradually come into it, bringing the weight into my left foot, kicking up my back leg. And then eventually I'm going to hold this back leg up, pull the belly towards the spine, like we did in the pelvic tilt on the floor. Maybe the forearms rest on the chair. Try not to round the back here. Pull the belly up. Maybe for a millisecond you want to see what it would feel like to balance in Warrior 3, hands to heart center, or maybe it's just one arm out to the side. Stop if this feels like too much. Good, and then we're releasing out of it. You've got it, Allison. Very good. So let's take a little breather here. I'm going to take a wider stance and just circle my hips. A little bit of a wider stance, hip circle. Find those big full breaths. And maybe along with my hip circles, I want to just let my arms kind of swing Maybe there's some movement my body's asking for, and I can come into that movement. A little windmill action here. All right, and then I'm going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So I'm taking my hands to my thighs, and with the flat back, I'm going to slowly fold forward. Both legs are engaged. I'm not going to round my back, so that might mean I don't go as far. I'm going to keep my chin tucked, and I'm just taking a couple of breaths here. Slowly make your way up. Walk the feet back to center and get ready to do a balancing pose. So balance challenge number 1, although we've done many balance poses so far. I'm going to make sure that I have the support I need. So I'm going to start with my tree pose. And before I even pick up one leg off the ground, I'm going to imagine those roots going down deep into the earth. And I'm going to also, while I'm imagining those roots, turn on that peripheral vision. So I'm not so focused on, what's in the center of my vision. I've got all of this field of vision around me. I'll start to bring my weight over to my right foot, and I'm just going to pick up my left heel, bending my left knee, and opening that left knee out to the left. This might be my tree pose here, with my foot on the ground the whole time, right? Or I might be able to bring my foot up onto my calf or higher, anywhere but the knee. I'm zipping up my core. That's good, Betty Ann, nice. And maybe I rest one hand on the heart while the other hand holds my support. Maybe I can briefly bring the hands to heart center, right? That chair is there for me the whole time I need it. Finding one breath, 2 breaths. Soft bend to that standing leg could help. You've got it, Dion. Beautiful. And then I'm going to come out of it mindfully, right? Kick out that right leg. Maybe snap your fingers. Remember, we're not taking ourselves too seriously. We're here to have fun. And when I came into class today, we had a little dance party with one of our participants' dogs. It was up on his hind legs dancing. It just made me laugh and made me feel so joyful just to be with you today. So let's give tree pose another try on the other side. Weight will come into that left leg. I'm envisioning those roots going down. I'm turning on my peripheral vision, picking up that right heel, opening that right knee to the side. Zipping everything up. Maybe I take a moment to put my foot on my calf or my thigh. The side could feel different, so I'm going to just honor whatever I come across there. And I'm working towards finding my wobble point. I want to find that wobble point. That is where I will grow and evolve. So if I fall out of it, I'll just come right back to it. Finding that breath. Feel that effort in that left glute muscle, the core. Right? The mind could be at the core the whole time you do these balance poses. And slowly coming out of your tree pose. That's a lot. Great job. Kick out that left leg, snap those fingers, do a little dance. All right, now I want to take that wider stance one more time. I'm going to reach up with my right arm, And allow that left arm to swing and dangle. I'm really opening up that right side body. Big breath in. Exhale back to center. Inhale, left arm lift. Right arm relax. Come on back to center. Move at your own pace. A few more side bends. We really want to stretch those muscles in between the ribs. Keep them supple. Feel that length. And last one. All right. How are you guys doing? Thumbs up. Would you like to do one more balance pose? And then we'll transition to a seated posture. Okay, so this balance pose is called half moon. We just had a new moon last night, so I like to put the moon in when I can. And half moon is a pretty challenging pose where we're going to be sort of balancing on one leg again, but this time the hips are going to be open. So to transition to this, I'm actually going to do a triangle pose. So I'm going to start with triangle and move to half moon. So with a little bit of a wider stance, not quite as wide as you possibly can go, let's bring the right toes to the right. And I want to make sure that my chair will be available over here to the right. But first I'm going to go into my triangle pose. With that left foot angling inward and that left hip kind of sassing out. Right? Somebody said they wanted some hip work today. Well, we're really sassing out that left hip like that sassy teenager I mentioned at the beginning of class. Oh, Dad, do I have to? And I'm going to bring my right arm out to the right and kind of imagine that I'm a little teapot pouring over my right leg. So I might do a couple of pours with my shoulders in line with my leg here. And then eventually I'm going to bring my hand down either to my chair or my leg, keeping that left shoulder back. And this might be just as far as you go, or you might want to lift that left arm up. And it's okay to change or shift. Triangle is a really hard pose. It's the puzzle of a lifetime, said one of my teachers. Bring that palm, that left palm, to face me. That's it, Marty. And reach that arm up towards the sky, big breath. And then we're coming up nice and slow. And I'm going to take my hand to my chair now and begin to put a little bit of weight into my right foot. So I'm going to change up and make any modifications and slowly lift that left leg up. My hand is on my hip. And I might take a couple of these. So this time, rather than the toe pointing down like we had in Warrior 3, the toe is pointing out, and we're doing that side balance lift that we practiced at the beginning of class. Half moon. I might stay lifted here, and I might bring my left arm up, right? Incredibly difficult pose, so I'm going to just give myself all the grace I need. The gaze could be straight ahead. The gaze could be down. Sometimes it helps me with challenging poses to bring my gaze down. And then eventually I'm going to just come out of it. So just a short visit to that half moon pose. Walk it out between sides. Great job, guys. That's a really tough pose. And then we'll do the other side. So I'm just going to shift my chair around. We'll take a little bit of a wider stance. Maybe a few little hip circles, a little sip of water, maybe a little dance around the room, whatever you need. And then I'm going to spin my left toes to the left, angle my right foot in, get sassy with that right hip, and pour out your teapot over that left leg, right shoulder back. I'm a little teapot. Could bring my hand down and bring the right arm up, palm facing forward. This is one of those poses in Dr. Fishman's study, Yoga for Stronger Bones. So you can imagine I'm putting some extra pressure on the bones in my lumbar spine and in the hip socket on the right side. Don't want to round my back here. Come on up nice and slow. You got it. And then I'm going to bring my left hand onto my chair, and I'm slowly working towards my half moon pose. So I might kick up that back leg a few times, toe pointing forward. Hips are open. And then I might hang out here with this leg lifted. Maybe I go down a little farther, hand on the seat of my chair. Maybe I stay where I am. Reaching my right arm up. Really feel that side glute working. Big breath in. Today is another day in which to excel. And now I'm going to come out of it and just enjoy a couple hip circles. So that was a big one, or whatever movements want to come into the body. Maybe you want to be that little windsock person at the car dealership, moved by the wind, flowing, ebbing and flowing. All right. Great job, guys. So I'm going to get ready to transition. And I'm not in any hurry here, so I'm going to get all the things I need, maybe a little sip of water. And I'm going to transition slowly and carefully, dropping one knee down, balancing on my knees, coming to sit, transitioning to sit. So we'll do, actually come to find a way to sit. Maybe you want to lift up the hips and sit on a blanket in an easy pose with the legs crossed. Or if that doesn't feel good for you, you can sit up on a block with the knees folded underneath, or maybe that's 2 blocks in a hero's pose. So we're going to try to find a seated posture on the ground that's comfortable for you, and you can always just come to sit in a chair if that would feel better for you. So I'm going to do a little bit of alternate nostril breathing now. So you could sit with your back to the wall, right? However you want to be. I want a nice tall spine here. So I'll begin, and I'm going to come a little closer so you can see this. Imagine I'm sitting in my Sukhasana, or easy seat pose. And I'm going to bring my right hand up. I'll fold my first 2 fingers back, so I'm in this shape, this mudra that's going to be pressing each nostril shut, but not all the way, so I'm not forcing this. And I'm going to always start by inhaling through my left nostril. So let's just try, what does it feel like to have the air flowing in and out of just the left nostril? So I'm breathing in left, I'm breathing out left, and you can always leave a little bit of air coming in and out of the right. So I'm just exploring, making sure I can breathe in and out okay from my left nostril. All right, and then I'm going to take a little break. Any of you feeling really congested in that left nostril? Some of you said you were getting over a flu. Okay, so if you're really congested, you're going to skip doing this practice, but you can still do it mentally. So let's try, and we'll see what the right side feels like. I'm going to, again, come back to my mudra. Honestly, do what feels best for you with the fingers if this doesn't feel best. I'm going to lightly depress my my left nostril, and inhale and exhale from the right. So I'm just exploring. Is this side congested? Can I get some air flowing in and out? I'm not going to force it. That's good, Bev. And then I'm going to relax my hand, and I'm just going to check in with you guys. How's the right nostril? If you can get the air flowing in and out of the right nostril, great. And if you can't, you're going to skip this and just do this mentally. It's actually an amazing meditation you can do. So I'm going to come back to my mudra, and we're going to do a couple rounds of Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing together. So I'll always start and end with the left nostril. So lightly depressing that right nostril. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. That's one round. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Do this at your own pace. Breathing in left. Breathing out right. In right. Out left. Let's take one more round together. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Maybe you want to close your eyes too. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. So we're looking to balance. Maybe you want to do a round on your own or just come back to regular breathing. We're looking to balance the right and left hemispheres of the brain with this exercise. It's just a horseshoe pattern. And it's sort of like nasal floss, mental nasal floss. All right, the next time you breathe out of your left nostril, you can release the hand down. And just take a few regular breaths here. Let me know how you're doing. All right, so Nadi Shodhana can be used for focus, for clarity. I don't know if some of you feel that sort of sense of, oh my gosh, I'm more clear or awake in my sinuses. It can be used for balance. It's just a wonderful breath practice. So let's go ahead and wind down. I promised you a rest pose. I want to do several poses on the way there. So let's go ahead and you've been sitting, I think, long enough. But if you wanted to do some little butterflies on the way to a reclining posture, that would be great. And Jim, that could feel good for your hips. With the soles of the feet together, knees apart, and just take a few little flaps of those wings. And then on my way to recline, I might do a boat pose. So that's another balance pose. I'm going to take my hands underneath my shoulders. So I'm leaning back. My knees are bent. And I'm going to lift one leg at a time and see how that feels. I sort of tricked you. I said we were going to start to relax. And now we're doing a very challenging pose. Boat pose. You can skip it if you want. So with boat pose, I'm sort of creating a V with my body. And that might mean that both legs lift. That might mean I just do one leg at a time, right? Maybe I can grab onto the backs of both thighs and keep my legs lifted. Or maybe I'm doing like a little paddle boat movement here. No sinking in the spine, so I don't want to round my back here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You did it. Great job, Betty Ann. Come all the way onto the back. Grab that blanket for underneath the head. Feet are on the floor, knees are bent. And I'm going to come back to a few pelvic tilts, what we started our class with. So just erasing the lumbar curve by pressing the belly button down towards the earth. Inhaling, accentuating that curve. Exhaling, pushing it down, maybe not to the full force. And then I'll take a set of windshield wipers, walking the feet to the edges of my mat, arms to the sides, and just letting my knees drift from side to side. Noticing how I might feel a little bit different from when I started my class today. And we'll come back to center, bring the feet so they're hip distance apart. If you wanted to, you could squeeze a pillow or block between the thighs. I'm going to move my blanket away from my head, so no head support here. Coming up into my bridge pose. I've got my arms at my sides. I'm going to push into the earth and lift my hips. So my knees and my hips and my feet are all in line, lifting those hips. And I might be able to grab the edges of my mat and kind of wriggle my shoulders underneath. So this is a back bend pose, very good for sort of an uplifting energy. If there's any other way you like to practice bridge pose, go for it. And one way I like to exit bridge pose when you're ready, you can bring the arms all the way overhead and reach behind you, if that would feel okay on your shoulders, and then just come down. See if you can come down one vertebra at a time, just placing the spine down on the earth with the utmost care and kindness. If you had something between the legs, you could take it out. You could bring that blanket back under your head. And we'll just do 2 more stretches here and then call it a day. So I'll cross my right ankle over my left knee. My left foot is on the earth here. And I'm going to reach up and hug the left leg in. Right? Maybe I don't have the bandwidth for that today and I could just come up onto the left tip toes. So this is called a figure 4. And you might feel this, Jim, in the right hip. Such a good glute stretch here. I'm pushing that right knee away with my right elbow a little bit. I don't know how your limbs meet up, but I have short arms and short legs, and that works for me. Breathing into that sensation. Good, and then we'll relax that left foot down on the earth. Same side, cross the right knee over the left so the knees are nestling. So I got my right knee on top of my left, and I'm just going to let both knees drift to the left. So it's a nice twist, gentle twist. And that right arm can reach to the right. Allow my right shoulder to melt into the earth. And I'm just taking 3 bountiful breaths here. Beginning to let go of doing. Coming into the being side of my practice. Maybe the enjoying side of my practice. And when I'm ready, I could switch it up, crossing the left ankle over the right knee. I'm not in any hurry. Reaching up through the window of the legs, hugging that right leg in if that's available to me. If it's not, I'll modify it. And really getting a nice hip stretch here outside of that left hip. So the top leg is bent, the right leg is bent, both legs are bent. Flexing the left foot, not pointing. Good, hug it in, one more breath. And then we're setting that right foot down, crossing the knee all the way over, so the left knee nestling on top, both knees drifting to the right as I reach to the left with my left arm, letting the left shoulder melt. Taking a few breaths here, exactly as I am in this moment. When you're ready, return to neutral. Hug the knees in one last time. Get very small, even lifting your head up off the earth, bringing the forehead towards the knees. I'm just a little seed of myself. And then I'm going to get ready to plant myself into the bed of my mat for our final pose. Shavasana, I'm going to get all of those comfortable things. I like to place a pillow underneath my knees or 2 blocks underneath my knees, or even another rolled up yoga mat underneath my knees. This is great for my low back. I might like to grab another blanket and tuck myself in. Really take the time and get yourself super comfortable here. So we'll be here for, 5 whole minutes. Okay, so this is a very important aspect of yoga asana practice, is to make sure you spend time integrating the poses at the very end of your practice. And you can add a rest pose like this to any exercise practice that you do. So getting yourself planted into the bed of your mat. I'm going to bring out just a few of my singing bowls here, and we'll do a little reclining Shavasana relaxation. Take some clearing, cleansing breaths in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. And as we rest the body, little by little we can allow the body to drain of effort. It's not so easy. Allow the base of the skull to rest. Let go of holding the neck. Soften the shoulders. Allow the arms to be heavy, all the way down to the fingertips. Take a breath in. Allow that whole upper body to soften into its support. Letting go of effort through the whole back, down the length spine, planting yourself into the earth. The hips are heavy. Imagine that the surface below you is yielding and could soften with your weight, your body creating an imprint on the earth, being held in its embrace. Both legs like tree trunks on a forest floor, letting go of effort through the legs, down to the toes. Taking a breath in, and as you exhale, once again sinking into the deep imprint your body makes on the earth, and feeling that support below you, feeling that root system. Weaving outward to all of the fellow Waldenstrom's friends, resting in this moment. Within the cradle that you're being held in, that is connected, that is alive, feel the expansiveness of the front of your body, the lightness, the joyful spirit. Feel that support beneath you and that freedom to play. And as you begin to come back into your whole body, integrated with mind and spirit, and can take this feeling with you into the rest of your day or evening. You can begin to stretch through the fingertips, lick the lips or swallow. Give yourself a moment to come back, come up into a seated posture. Maybe you want to spend a moment laying on the side, giving yourself a squeeze. And eventually joining me just for one moment longer so that we can close our session. So coming to sit with a tall spine. Maybe you feel a little taller. I know I do after yoga. I'm going to take my hands to heart center that Shanti to travel out as far and as wide as we can send it. Breathing in. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thanking you so much for your practice today, friends. Namaste.